Hello everyone, this is WW Gaming and welcome to another Hero Showcase video. This time we're going to be taking a look at Erza. Yep, last time I covered Lucy, and this time we're going to cover Erza. Initially, I was thinking about doing Erza first, but since Lucy has like a bit more complicated skill set, I decided, you know what, maybe it's best if I do Lucy's first to clarify a lot of things. Because there were a lot of confusions going on with her kit. And in that video, hopefully that resolves the confusion. So anyways, Erza is a single target specialist that also is capable of disabling revives if the condition is right for her, of course. So let's talk about what Erza is about. And also, before I forget, I forgot to mention about Lucy's factions. I think I already showed it in the screen, but I never mentioned what factions she's part of. So let me go back to that really quick before we start with Erza. So Lucy's factions are Protagonist, Princess, and Time, which makes sense in the lore of Fairy Tail. As for Erza, she's part of Legion of Glory, Princess Alliance, and Heroes of Time. I think that's how call it that. Yeah, Heroes of Time. And Erza being Princess kind of makes sense because she is somewhat from the royal lineage somehow, and also Legion of Glory also makes sense for her because she fights with justice. And her talent is called Titania. And what this does is that it increases the attack by 15%. And this increases based on star level. And up to a max of 30%. And I believe you do get more mobility on 6 stars. Well, 5 and 6 stars, you get more mobility. So at 3 stars, her mobility is +1. Which means she can move 4 blocks. Which can be pretty scary at times. Because, like, if you combine her with like wings or boots, depending on which you prefer, I go for boots because I don't have any other accessory that I don't have another wings on here because I only have 2 on me right now. So I decided to go for boots so that way she will be able to move much easier. And then for every 1 enemy on the battlefield exceeding the number of allies, this effect is increased by 1 time, up to 3 times, which is pretty nuts to think about. So like if you have more enemies on the field, this will become more effective. After initiating battle, if the number of enemies is not less than allies, can act again with remaining mobility, which basically unrestricted in non-competitive modes. So yeah, by the way, basically like what happened here is that you can act again, and this can be done without restriction if you're playing PvE. But in PvP, there will be restrictions. So keep that in mind. And if you're playing PvP, you can only activate this 1 time per 5 turns. So this is going to be a long time for you to be able to act again on her own in PvP settings. But in PvE, you can disregard that because that's not going to apply on that mode. Because you know, the game's kind of pretty nice about the cooldown trigger for the act again for Erza at least. So like you can use that act again as many times as you want, without worry about stopping it. And at the start of the battle, gains 1 stack of a revive upon taking the next, which basically prevents you from dying, of course. And you recover 20% HP. After each time an enemy is actively eliminated, you gain 1 stack of the revive. So you can get up to 2. I think at this current star level, but I don't know if this increases on higher stars, but we're going to take a look. Let's see, if it's like 5 stars, I don't think it increases, so let's see. No, it does not increase, so it will stay at 2 at all stars. Alright. So yeah, the more enemies you kill, the longer she will stay on the field. Which is perfect for her, because she's somewhat of a tank buster in some ways, because she does come with a revive disable in her 3C, as long as you're outnumbered. Which will showcase that very quick. So for the mastery stones, I go with this set here. For the armor and headwear, I go for like defensive, while weapon and accessory, I went for like a full offense, well, including HP, because HP is always vital for many characters. As for the soldiers, I go with the Fang Subjugator, so that way this will enable her to like be able to do more damage. But of course, you have other options too if you prefer. But I think Giant Loser Rider might be a more viable option, but anyways, I'm just gonna stick with this. And she doesn't have much of a soldier option, so Galleon Duelist might actually be another you can go with, but it's really up to your preference. And there's really no difference here. Okay, I think I'll go for Giant Lizard Riders with this one. And as for the equipment, I go for the single target like tank busting kit. And I don't know why this is not level 50, but let me upgrade this really quick. There we go. Much better. I was just thinking like, wait, why is this one not level 50? When I saw that. Oh yeah, and also I went for Apex boost in case from an earlier video, of course. So Crystal Stinger to be able to do enough damage and also ignores enemies' defense whenever you attack. Some Praetor's chainmail, if for some reason your Erza gets attacked, you can actually make your unit a bit tricky to go around, because this will enable yourself to protect against like nasty buffs that the enemy has. Like, as long as they're dispellable. And if you're a tier, to enable yourself to deal more damage on your next action. And an Apex boost for mobility, but if you have wings, that also works. I prefer this one, so that way this will enable her to move at all times. Move at the best mobility at all times. And also on top of that, more attack is nice. As for the skills she comes with, at the beginning you'll start with Roar, and then you actually no. At the beginning you'll start with these 5 skills. So you have Roar, and then Defense Break, Deadly, Sun Slash, and Battle Cry. And then when you upgrade her to the next class, you'll unlock her transforming skill called Re-Equip Heaven's Wheel Armor. And then when you upgrade to the final class, you'll unlock the other unique skill. But first, let's talk about this one, see what this does. So this one basically changes your Erza into Heaven's Wheel Armor form. It still basically treats all the passable terrains as plains. And after taking action and before initiating battle, gains 1 undispellable stack of Magic Sword. After actively dealing damage in battle, each Magic Sword stack eliminates 1 soldier from each enemy unit within 2 blocks of the target. This effect is removed when Heaven's Wheel Armor is lost. And gains an additional 1 Magic Sword when in Danger Zone, and can accumulate up to 5 times in total. And this will last for 3 turns. Ignores immunity, cannot be dispelled. After use, any buffs on the target do not lose their turn counts, and can act again with remaining mobility +2. Pretty useful skill for Erza here. Allow her to excel in like positioning, and also be able to hit enemies effectively. Next up is her 2C skill called the Heaven's Wheel Scatter Petals. This is a range attack, by the way, but this can be used in melee if you preferred. Attacks a single enemy, dealing 1.5 times damage. Before battle, reduces the enemy's attack and int by 25%, and this will last for 2 turns. When possessing Magic Sword, deals fixed damage equal to 0.5 times caster's attack to the enemy before battle. For each additional Magic Sword, this damage multiplier is increased by 0.5 times. When equipped with melee soldiers, the soldiers will attack too, and this will not be affected by melee damage reduction. So that's a nice thing to have. So if you want to go close range against mages or ranged attackers, this skill is still going to be effective for them. And the other skill she unlocks in this final class is the Sword Soul, the classic bruiser skill that removes 5 buffs from the target, and also does a lot of damage as well. And Erza, being the new unit with this skill, is always welcome. And that's for the classes. Erza is always infantry, as you can see here, even from the beginning until the final class. Now let's talk about the soldier. Well, no, we already got the soldiers, and also equipment's already done. And now let's talk about the 3C here, called the True Scarlet Blossom. This is her ultimate form, by the way. So yeah, that's right. Erza has 2 different forms. There's like the Heaven's Wheel armor form, and now there's the Scarlet Blossom form. So what this does, that like the passive on here, is that when an ally dies, dispels 2 debuffs from self, and this skill's cooldown is reduced by 5 turns. Erza abandons her re-equip armor to gain Crimson Blossom. Then attacks a single enemy, dealing 1.7 times damage before battle. Dispels 3 enemy buffs. When the number of enemies is greater than the number of allies, the enemy is unable to trigger effects that blocks fatal damage in this battle. And this one only applies in PvP. And then Crimson Blossom replaces Heaven's Wheel, Scatter Petals with Scarlet Slash, and can be used immediately. When initiating battle, hero's defense is reduced by 30%. This unit attacks before the enemy and ignores 30% of enemy's defense. Before battle, restores 30% of unit's HP and dispels 1 buff from the enemy. For each enemy on the battlefield exceeding the number of allies, all effects except the defense reduction effects are increased by 100%, up to a maximum of 300%. Ignores immunity, cannot be dispelled, and this will last for 2 turns. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on with her 3C. So basically, when she's in this form, some of her skills do get changed by the form, which is somewhat interesting to have, and also not unique, by the way, because we have units in the past that does this too, like Ring, for example. Ring, whenever he enters his his white hair form, whatever that was, some of his skills do in fact change. Something like that. Yep, pretty basic, but it's actually pretty menacing too. Now let's see what she's about here. Let's go in here. Alright, since Erza is a physical unit, I'm going to use a tier for this. And our first opponent is Maya, second opponent is Vincent, and our final opponent is Clotaire. So let's take a look at how we're going to do this here. Although, spoiler alert, not difficult. If you know what you're doing, that is. Okay, Erza begins with a revive. As you can see here, since we do have more enemies on the field, that means Erza's gonna have a more effectiveness on herself. Yeah, and Titania is increasing the mobility by 3, which is pretty nuts. As you can see here. Yeah, she works best when she is at a disadvantage. Since it's PvE. Usually there won't be any cooldowns for this one here. Hold on. Wait a minute. Didn't the game says that it disregards the restriction, or? Huh. Interesting. I don't know why it's that still here for this mode, but there might be a bit of a typo there, but we'll have to see. Ouch. Okay, it looks like we cannot react again. So yeah, there's something going on with the wording there. Apparently that also applies to PvE stuff for some reason. We're just gonna attack him head on since we can reach. Pretty strange. I thought you could act again as many times as you want there, but I guess there really is a limit. Oh well. Alright, let's check out what this battle is about. So we got our allies here. We got Elise, we also got Maya, we also got Natsu, and of course ourselves, Erza. Let's let this battle start right now. And both sides have equal amount of units, so we don't have the advantage here. And we had to approach carefully because we do not want to end up like getting into the bad side, you know?
感想天輪の鎧相手が誰であろうと恐れるこ
Let's
とはない
attack Natsu from here.
見切った
まだ終わってね
相手が誰であろう
And we are
と恐れることはない
感じる悪意の潜伏を
Okay.
行くぞ
That's how Natsu, you enter end mode.
力を貸してくれ行くぞ
イリスはあなたのために戦う
Okay, put the key right here.
侵入を禁ずる
このマイヤが何かお力になれることはございますかこのマイヤ手加減はできかねます
Okay, Erza's gonna be attacked here.
消灯
We
時
should be fine. Because I'm not gonna expect her to die that quickly.
このマイヤ手加減はできかねます
Because she has revive on herself.
感想天輪の鎧
Oh, she's gonna lose both of them. Okay.
そこだここまでか
Yeah, she's gonna die here, unfortunately. But, oh well.
そこだ
Might as well go out with a bang, you know?
イリスはあなたのために戦う
That's AoE right here.
何なりとお申し付けください指揮官
Okay,
様
attack Erza. We do not want her here.
このマイヤ
ここまでか
行くぞ
Alright, let's see. Let's attack Maya. I do not want her here either.
カリュウの公園
お酒以外にもこんなに強い敵が
Okay,
い
full
るのです
HP
ね
recovery.
かかって
And
こい
then, and then gets another chance. Attack Leaf.
これが死なの
We almost lost her. Oh, she just counter killed
ここま
herself.
でか
感じる
行くぞ
Alright. Natsu versus Erza. I wonder who's gonna win here.
カリュウの公園
ここまでか
Alright, and that's done. Alright, let's take her to the battlefield and let me show you guys how you can kill Dragon Slayer effectively. Yep, this is another way of killing Dragon Slayer. I already covered a video about how to counter him, but this is gonna be the second version of that with Erza in the party. So yep, see you in the battlefield shortly. Alright, here we are in the battlefield, and as you can see, I purposely put the enemy team with more people on there, so that way I'll be able to show you how to disable that revive. So first things first, let's go and activate.
私に任せろ
Let's go ahead and do the attack here to weaken them a bit.
覇者牽制砲火砲身
心配するな私に任せろ
We're going to be using this here,
天輪の鎧心配するな
and then we're
私
going
に
to
任せろ
enter this form right away.
もう迷いはない
炎が消える
相手が誰であろうと
Yeah, and just like that, you just literally kill Dragon Slayer in one fell swoop. As long as you're on a disadvantage, that is, with a number of enemies. And then you can go in for another attack.
見切った
Oh, I almost killed Lena. So yep, that's Erza. So if you ever see her on the field, watch out, because she is another Dragon Slayer killer. So yep, I'm gonna end the battle here, and I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna explain about what are my thoughts about Erza. Okay, overall, how I think about Erza, I would say she's pretty solid for both PvE and PvP. And what's really make her shine the most is, of course, in PvP, because she is a Dragon Slayer killer if executed correctly. That is, because in order to use her effectively, you need to make sure your team is really less than your opponents. So if you have the enemy that has like more units than you do, that's where Erza shines, and take that as to your advantage. And she'll work really well as a 5 stars, but 3 stars, she's still dangerous. Bear that in mind. So as you can tell, I was using a 3-star Erza against a 6-star Dragon Slayer, and of course with a bit of help, she's still able to kill Dragon Slayer, which is pretty insane. Or that possibly means I actually end up getting her built pretty well. That's another speculation I'm thinking in my mind. So yep, that's Erza for you. So let me know in the comments if you have gotten her in the summoning, and let me know if you find this video helpful or informative. And I'll see you all next time for more. And also, hopefully I can get Natsu shortly, because I haven't got him yet. I know I had to get some grinding in the events just to get him. So yep, until next time, and I'm out.